Hello there beautiful humans, I'm RidersDX and welcome to 2022 I guess, because well, it's been a bit of a slow year in terms of gaming news and such. I mean, we've heard that Sonic Frontiers would support lots of different languages, Rehydrated's on sale once again, Microsoft decided to buy Activision Blizzard. Oh, well that's actually kind of big news. That's right, you heard that correctly. Microsoft has officially brought out Activision Blizzard, and that includes all of its properties like Call of Duty, Overwatch, and yes, Crash Bandicoot. And I'm just like, there's just something so funny about Microsoft owning Crash Bandicoot now, because I think all of us have, at the end of the day, thought of Crash as a Sony property. Even if they were under Activision for all this time, everyone's always thought of Crash as in association with Sony. So to have Crash officially be a part of the competitor is very, very interesting to say the least. Like, this is definitely some kind of alternate dimension I never thought I would be a part of, but here we are. And so, while this may come as a shock to a bunch of people, and it's a shock no matter what, thinking about it, it's not the most shocking thing that could have happened to Activision Blizzard. So, as you all may or may not know, Activision Blizzard hasn't been having the best year due to a lot of serious allegations made towards the company about its workplace environment. Now, I haven't spoken out about the issue specifically, but all you need to know is that once I heard about the story, my reaction was basically just,
"You're not very pretty, and you're not very bright."
there's no place for that in any kind of work environment, especially video games. So I'm glad that all the people that have been wronged by it have been outspoken at least, and hopefully this huge change leads to some much needed changes within the actual workplace, because Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard is like a fresh start for this company. You know, they're under new management now, and Microsoft is a company that's spoken out against the Activision Blizzard allegations, and so Microsoft is definitely going to be very careful in making sure that whatever was happening during Activision's days is completely eradicated in this new era, because that's the only way this would have worked out. So it's very interesting, because I remember reading this headline saying that Microsoft was evaluating its relationship with Activision. Oh, but little did we all know that when they said evaluating, they meant seriously evaluating. Like, it's a wild ride, and I'm just really interested in seeing where this journey is going to take us. Now, there's so many things we could talk about when it comes to Activision being owned by Microsoft now. They have so many big IPs, but I really want to focus this video on Crash Bandicoot specifically, because that's the franchise I really care about at the end of the day when it comes to Activision. And so Crash Bandicoot being a Microsoft property now, there's so many different possibilities of Crash under a Microsoft label. It's just crazy to think about what Microsoft would want to do with Crash Bandicoot. I have been reading, or at least hearing of, a lot of very concerned opinions though, that with Microsoft buying Crash Bandicoot, that Crash may just die, like not have anything happen to him at all. And I think the main culprit for this feeling is not only the fact that Microsoft isn't really a big supporter of big 3D platformers in general, but seeing how they've treated a certain 3D platformer mascot that everyone loves. That's right, I'm bringing Banjo-Kazooie into this conversation. So, as you all know, Banjo-Kazooie is a very loved and well-renowned platforming icon, but they haven't had a new title in over 10 years, despite the constant requests to bring them back in some form, even as simple as a remaster or a remake of the original games. And I mean, we've gotten some bones thrown to us at least. Like this past week or so, Banjo-Kazooie came on the Nintendo Switch Online, so I mean, it's something. So now that Crash Bandicoot is under that umbrella, who's to say that Microsoft won't do the exact same thing to Crash as they did to Banjo-Kazooie? And I do understand that sentiment, that argument, because it is scary. You know, Microsoft in the past hasn't been very successful when it comes to having an iconic 3D platforming icon to represent their console. I mean, Sony did a pretty good job with like Jak and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank. Of course, Nintendo is the kings of it with Mario and such, but Microsoft has always kind of missed out on that, even when they tried to. I mean, I think when they first originally obtained the Banjo-Kazooie IP, they wanted to try to make that happen with Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, but as soon as that game came out and didn't really do what they wanted it to do, they basically just scrapped ideas and just went back to majorly representing the 3D FPS series that they had going on that was selling millions. So there you go. But now they have Crash Bandicoot under their roof, and well, Crash is a different story in my eyes. And the reason for that is when Microsoft obtained Banjo-Kazooie was sort of already dead in the water. They had a canceled title, and it'd been a few years at least without a brand new Banjo-Kazooie title, if I remember correctly. Crash Bandicoot is in a much better place than Banjo-Kazooie was at this point. Crash Bandicoot recently just had a really extremely successful chain of remakes, Crash Insane Trilogy and Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel. Those two games sold millions, made some of the most money in Activision's entire history, and ultimately justified the release of Crash Bandicoot 4, a highly budgeted spiritual successor to the original Crash Bandicoot games, and that game did really well as well. So obviously there's been so many different rumors and talks about Crash Wumpa League, whatever that is, coming out, but with all this mess going on within Activision, it just seemed like the project was put to the side. So we do have an inkling that something Crash Bandicoot related has already been in development for a while now, and so it would be a shame to see Microsoft scrap that, but I don't personally think Microsoft is going to scrap Crash Bandicoot, and that is specifically because Crash is in a much better state than Banjo was when Banjo was obtained by Microsoft. Crash has proved himself with 3 separate projects that he is a viable franchise that sells, and you know what, Microsoft wants to make money, so it makes complete sense to continue that because Crash Bandicoot ultimately came out as one of Activision's top players, and he's also been on the forefront of an overall renaissance in platforming in my opinion, because I think Mario Odyssey was a really great reminder of how great 3D platformers are, open world games specifically. Breath of the Wild really brought back the open world like love in terms of 3D platformers, and then Sonic Frontiers might be making some round with its drastic change in gameplay. We've had like remakes like Rehydrated, for instance. Platformers are kind of coming back. It's not like back then where platformers were slowly dying out and they were trying to find ways to stay relevant. Platformers are definitely on the rise again, and it just seems like the wrong time to let go of Crash Bandicoot. I think it's always the wrong time to let go of Crash Bandicoot, but especially now when platformers seem to be rising in popularity again, and Crash just had a really successful original title after who knows how many years not having an original title. And so I just think there's too many reasons to not let go of Crash Bandicoot. Now, however, there were also a lot of reasons to bring Banjo-Kazooie back in their own title, and Microsoft has yet to do that. So who am I to say what Microsoft is going to do? I'm just gonna say that laying all the cards out on the table, Crash Bandicoot should not be put to the side. Crash Bandicoot should definitely be utilized and just get some new titles out. I really do hope they don't make Crash Bandicoot console exclusive. Like, I think that would just suck, especially since most of his fans are Sony fans. I think it's a similar-ish situation as Banjo-Kazooie. Now, it's a little different, I guess, because Banjo-Kazooie actually was Nintendo exclusive when Microsoft brought them, and Crash Bandicoot has had some time to at least establish somewhat of a fan base on Microsoft consoles. But still, I think the majority of Crash fans are on PlayStation consoles, and so I'm hoping that Microsoft will be a little bit nice about Crash Bandicoot, just like they seem like they're going to be with Call of Duty, because I read stories that Call of Duty was going to stay multi-platform, which I think is a smart move because Call of Duty makes so much money. I think Call of Duty will end up making Microsoft more money being a multi-platform franchise than being an exclusive franchise, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'm not like a gaming marketing expert by any means, so who's to say my opinion really matters at all? All I want to say is there's so many reasons to keep on going with Crash Bandicoot that hopefully if Microsoft was really smart and intelligent about this move, they would not give up that potential. I think they already did a huge blow by not doing anything with Banjo-Kazooie, but I think Crash Bandicoot would be an even bigger blow because they have recent revenue right here showing that Crash Bandicoot is financially viable. If they decide to ignore that, then that's just stupid because they have so much evidence at their hands of how profitable this franchise is in recent years. There is absolutely no reason to not continue on with Wumpa League at least and kind of see how that goes. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about Crash Bandicoot now being a Microsoft property? Do you envision Crash being exclusive to Xbox consoles now? Or do you think Crash will still be multi-platform? What do you think Microsoft is going to do with Crash in terms of video games? Are we going to get just a simple Crash Bandicoot 5? Or are we going to get something a little bit different? It's really interesting to see Crash Bandicoot be a Microsoft property now, so I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's right. Activision owns Spyro also. So, is Spyro dead? So in my opinion, when it comes to Spyro...
Molly, you in danger, girl.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Special shout out to my patrons, New Gamer Hub, Team Rattle Sign Gamer, Trash Q, Claw84. These are my patrons / YouTube members. If you'd like to become a patron or YouTube member and get access to a whole bunch of different perks, then please check out the links in the description box below. But alright, this is Riders, riding out.